Now before we begin, you have my word. I will not make any Rocket Man jokes, nor will I make any Rocketeer jokes. In that spirit, let's take a look at something that I've been particularly interested in lately. The budget gimmick lines of Kamen Rider action figures. And we start Fourze's with base states in the module change series. Okay, first off, let's get this out of the way. This thing is a nightmare on my camera's white balance, and even now, I don't think it's quite capturing the orange the way it should. It's actually looking a little bit darker on this camera line, but otherwise it is very nicely detailed and painted to match the show. You know, surprising for something that's cheaper than a figure art. And, well, it seems to, well, be pretty well constructed, though of course it's a little cheaper, so lots of visible screws and such. But this is more about the gimmick. But that doesn't mean they slouched everywhere else. Taking a look at the head mold, you can see the antennas are molded in, and they've done this little thing where it's made of clear plastic. That way it does create the illusion of the horns that are painted on the front. It does look a little bit odd, but on this scale and price point, that's a very tiny detail to work in, so I can understand it. The fins are painted, and most importantly, the eyes are correctly done. They are the compound lenses we are used to seeing on a figure art. That's very impressive. Really like that. And of course, small details like the green right between the horns and right there on the collar are correctly represented here. Going through, metallic silver. I love the metallic silver. The orange lines on the suit are also metallic. Again, my camera does not quite seem to like that shade of orange for some reason. I have no idea why. It's getting on my nerves at this point. You can see there's a lot of intricate molding here to recreate the padded look of Fourze's suit, which is supposed to match something that an astronaut would wear. And it does a pretty nice job. Now, the biggest detail here to point out is, of course, the Fourze driver on the belt. It's, well, yeah. They chose to cast it in very soft plastic, so that handle is not going to snap off the second you flick it the wrong way. They've painted it in this metallic, very pale blue, trying to match the look of the main plastic of the toy belt. It does also mean that the screen is unpainted, as are the individual activation switches and the switches on top. They do it so that it can match as best as possible. I mean, at least this looks like generic switches. If these were orange, blue, and whatnot, all the modules would look off except for the main ones. So, I commend them for trying. It's a little bit of a lesser evil thing. Going down the arms, you see the lines continue, that padded look, all the way until we get to the gauntlet, which is a much more machined, much more mechanical and hard look to it. There's the marker for which modules get attached to this arm. A little bit more molding than I thought there would be to those. Also give you a look at the black one here on the side. There's your square module. Down to the X. And I'll show you the triangle at the same time, just to save a little bit of time. You ever notice he's got the exact same shapes on him as a PlayStation controller? You also have some feet. Yay, feet. So, molding-wise and detail-wise, he's got it pretty much spot on. So, no complaints there. Quite satisfied with him for his price point. The articulation is more important, though, now, isn't it? Okay, first we got universal joints in the shoulders. Great. Bicep swivel. Great. A 90-degree elbow, which does kind of get on my nerves, mostly because it doesn't quite let you get a hold of that handle. He really needs a double elbow for that, so that is a point off. The fingers also can be opened up. They are molded in 2-finger pieces, so you can kind of have a... No, it's not really a point at all. It's more like he's, telling the dog to come over here. Whatever. The wrist is also rotatable, so that works out too. Hips, ball jointed. Perfect. Love that. You also get the swivel above the knee, a 90-degree knee, or a little beyond actually, and ankles that rotate and tilt. So, you've got a lot of posability in him. And unlike the previous series, or all the way back to a decade for these, really, waist joint. I have been so missing that in these figures. Can we do better? Yes, we can. How about the head. Well, of course, it's on a ball joint, so you get full range of motion, and, well, you can actually look up. But something that actually astonished me, and, you know, I didn't expect this for this kind of toy, there is a very subtle back and forth movement, which allows you to either put the head lower or make the head look higher. This is essential for some of his flying poses with the rocket module, and will allow you to put him in poses that really none of the others were ever capable of at this price point. But I do keep describing him as a gimmick figure, so how about it? Let's see what the gimmick is. Now, for this one, I meant to have big special effects, you know, and include the switches, make it just kind of appear on there the way it does in the show. Except my Fourze driver still isn't in. Yeah, so instead I'm just going to show you the rocket module. There you go. It's big and it's orange. Stop making jokes. Okay, as you can see, it's got the round emblem there, showing you which arm it goes on. All the rockets are individually painted. I really appreciate that detail. One thing I find strange about this and all the modules, they're cast in white plastic and then totally painted in whatever color they are, you know, they appear in the show. This seems ridiculous to me. I don't know why. It just seems like a big waste of paint. Oh well. Now, I'd assumed that these things plugged onto the shapes here. That way only the rocket could only go on the right arm and such. No. It actually slides on. You see a little, little slide there, and that's where it clips in. And, oh, if you don't miss, that is. Nice click there. And rocket is now on. And much to my surprise, despite its size, it really doesn't hinder articulation at all. It's a little bit smaller than I thought it would look, but the benefit to that is, of course, he can actually hold it up. So this is not weighing his arm down. That is a nice little bonus. Let's go to the other arm before we go, because this is completely out of order now, and show you Radar. Now, while Radar does have a unique trick to it that really impressed me, it does not, however, have any panel display. That is kind of a letdown, especially when a sticker would have solved that. But, oh well. Let's try this one. Clips on the same way. Now, just like in the show, it can be used just like this, as if he's getting communication, or it does hinge forward to be used to lock on rockets. That is a nice little touch. I honestly didn't expect it to do that. So, as long as we can lock on rockets, how about we attach a few? Rocket, or actually launcher module. It fires rockets, okay? I got confused for a second. You're still going to hold it against me. I know you people are. X is molded in down the side, telling you where it goes. X is in the front, telling you where it goes. This is an X piece, if you didn't notice by now. You have to fold the foot down in order to connect it here. Clicks on the same way. Foot back. There we go. And there. Nice little side missile launcher. That's pretty nice to it. Now, you can see huge switch sticking out of it. More switches, I know. That's because, much to my surprise, the top two actually do fire. And unfortunately, I'm not going to fire them in this demonstration because they actually do rocket out really freaking fast here. Well, I'll try. Pushing down. Whoa! And they're lost forever. Never to be seen again. But that's okay, because the people at Bandai were smart enough to give you extras. So it doesn't matter if you lose two, you got two spares. Let's move on to Drill. You see the triangle? Well, it's barely in there. It's integrated in. Looks more like a funnel got stuck in this thing. Drill, painted nice metallic silver all the way around. No detail missed on this one. This one you definitely have to put the foot down in order to install. Nice clunk there. See, much longer. So, he actually needs to bend his leg in order to fit. However, No, no, no. Come on, Captain Morgan pose. There you go. I will say that, yeah, if I had a little bit more time and I was being a little bit more careful, he can pose much better with the rocket leg, or with the drill leg on. Everything looks like rockets here. It's throwing off my words. Words no want work. So with a little bit of finagling and, you know, a little bit finicky, he can stand surprisingly well on the drill without any extra parts, which is a nice little feature. You know, he can actually wear all four, as you can see right now, without any additional, you know, add-ons or stands or anything. I will warn you, these things do plug on pretty tight, so be careful, use a little bit of leverage when actually removing them. One thing that surprised me, like I said, was that these things slide into place. I thought they would use these as kind of peg holes in order to fit on. That way they could only go where they're supposed to go. Much to my surprise, because of the slide-on feature, you can actually switch them around. So I can equip radar on the right hand, I can equip drill on the right leg, and everything. Although I would not put launcher between his legs, just because I really wouldn't want missiles between. Moving on, yeah, you can switch which location they go in, which is a little bit of an undocumented feature and gives a little bit more play variety to these. Now, unfortunately, since his white costume is throwing off my white balance horribly, I had to remove the inch grid for this one, but I will tell you that he is roughly about 6 inches tall, which means he is in nice scale with the previous combo change gimmick line for O's, and because of that, he is also in scale with Figuarts. So, all around, he's going to fit in with whatever collection you have. Now, this does raise the question, and you probably came into this video wondering it yourself. Which do you get? The Module Change series or the Figuart? Well, let's look at it this way. Yes, the Figuart is a much higher quality toy. It's going to have better articulation, better details, and it's going to be a little bit better painted and all that. However, it's only going to come with the rocket and the drill modules. You're going to have to buy all of the others separately. And, just to gouge you a little bit more, there are effect parts for rocket and drill. On the other hand, the Module Change series figures are a good bit cheaper and, except for rocket states, all come with 4 different modules that can interchange with all of the others. That gives you a lot of nice play variety and a lot of extra action figures while you're at it. True, the series probably isn't going to have every single module, but it is going to give you a wide variety of them, enough to have a lot of playability between all the figures that will build up in the collection. If you are after just Fourze's base form and don't mind having any of the modules, or if you want to have every single module and have a ton of money to drop on them, then you get the Figuart release. If you are happy with just getting a few of the modules, or if you're more interested in value for dollar, I'd say get this one. The series is going to have plenty of modules for it, even if it doesn't have all of them. You're going to get a lot of really nice action figures along the way, and in the end, it's going to be way more affordable. And with all the improvements Fourze's Module Change series makes as opposed to O's Combo Change series, the line between Figuart and this series is getting so thin that really either one is a really good action figure at this point. This one, of course, came from Hobby Link Japan, where they've got plenty of these things, including Elec and Fire States, which I may or may not do at some point. So you go do some shopping. Fourze here has a lot of action figures to make friends with, and you can tell he's eager to do that. So we are off.